Well, another week over. I think it's time we go for a little adventure in the Yorkshire Dales, don't you? We'll do some canyoning. Let's go. Oh God, what a mess. It's gonna be cold. Wetsuit time. Well, I decided to go in the morning and stay at home because, as you know, I don't sleep that well in the van. Well, I do sleep, but not a proper night's sleep. And it's been absolutely chucking it down. So that should mean that the river and the water should be quite high, hopefully. Let's get ourselves up into the Yorkshire Dales. Great start. God, I look about 90 in the morning. I look shocking. Anyway, what I usually do is, when I used to go mountain biking on a Sunday, it was always 2 Egg McMuffins, McDonald's. I hate fast food, but McDonald's, when you're going to go get 2 Egg McMuffins and a cappuccino, that's usually my breakfast. Can somebody explain to me in what world do we live where 2 egg and cheese muffins and a coffee costs £8.50? Anyway, on a lighter note, great content, Andy. Whack, whack. Nice van. Why, thank you. We've got to follow these guys down some single track, apparently. Remember, life is an adventure. Life is an adventure. We've got that all-terrain tyres on. It should be no thing for Pepper. No bother. Isn't that right, Pep? Well, not quite the off-road I was expecting. That's it. This is the off-road. This tiny little bit of grass. I was expecting some sort of Jurassic Park going through the Dales, going down some single track. He says, yeah, and it's right like this. That's it. All 6 foot of it. You're just too extreme, Andy. That's your problem. That's while everybody else gets ready. I've got my own life jacket that I use for paddleboarding, so I'll be using that to put the GoPro in for the video. Quite a beautiful location for camper vans here. And of course, over there is Ingleborough. So to give you the full experience of this video, you actually get given this. No, it's not a nappy. This is a secure harness, and the reason we've got 2 massive carabiners on there is because, unbeknownst to me, we actually get to do some zip wires. There's a zip wire on the actual course. I'm in the Yorkshire Dales this weekend for some canyoning and some adventures, and I've been tagging along with a pre-booked group. So I'm the only one representing the BOTG Adventure group today. I've wanted to experience the Lake District and do some canyoning before, but last time I went, I drove all the way up to the Lake District, and when I got there, I was told there wasn't enough water, if you can believe it or not, so it got cancelled. So this has been on my list now for quite a while. One of the first things that hits you as you get down to the water is you are thrown in at the deep end, literally. There's no messing around here, no gentle streams, none of this, none of that. Whoosh, straight in down into the water.
On the camera, wow, that's quite a waterfall. We're going to be jumping into this one for a start off, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Can't wait.
I've got a 5mm wetsuit on. My usual 2mm one is just for paddleboarding because you're not really going to be in the water that long. That's why this one will keep you warm all day long. So it's something that's a little bit thicker. In. Oh, that's cold, even with a wetsuit on, that's cold. So after we've swum across the water from that initial dip, we're about to climb up the embankment for our first jump. It's surprising, even with the wetsuit on, just how cold that water is. It really does take your breath away, and yes, I agree, it looks like Yorkshire tea.
They look like nothing, it looks like 2-3 foot, but it's not. It's a lot higher once you're actually on the edge.
It's now time to do a slide down and over a waterfall, and when you look at the speed and flow of that water in front of you, Christ, is it safe to go down there? Well, you don't really have an option as you're thrown over the embankment and down into that torrent of water. Hold your breath.
That is no joke. Let me get a closer shot of that. Wow. So this is the big one. 8 to 9 meters. Yeah, that's a long way down. You know, that's high. That's higher than I thought it was. Anytime, yeah? Look it up, bottled it. 3, 2, 1, go! Woo! Yeah, that is quite high. That is quite high. I prefer to see where I'm going, to be honest with you. I don't like the... Oh, shit!
What's interesting for me is that it feels like you're underwater for a lot longer than you actually are. Because when you go over the edge from these waterfalls, you've got no idea what is at the bottom, or whether you're going to hit something on the way down. So you've got your eyes closed. You don't know whether to take that last breath or when to take the breath just before you go under. And let me tell you this, the power of that water moving down over those rocks is absolutely incredible. You've got to experience this for yourself rather than me telling you and you watching the video.
I've bashed my shin, I don't know what I've bashed it on, but yeah.
Now we're going to be moving on to a completely different part and using the zip wires, and for me personally this was a massive anticlimax. We're going to use the carabiners to go down now on the zip wire, but it's not quite a zip wire, it's more of a let you go over the edge slowly, mind the big rock and whoosh, we're back down in the water, and from there you've got 10 minutes of waiting around for everybody else to come back down while you're shivering in your wetsuit.
Go. Sweet. Bit anticlimactic, isn't it? I got that as well, the bottom rocket. Oh, that one. 10 minutes waiting around and yeah. Oh well, it's an adventure. Ooh. He's getting bashed to bits, this lad. It does make me wonder when I come to a place like this, where does all this water come from? It's 24 hours a day, constant, and there is tons and tons and millions of gallons and litres of water coming down there. Where does it all come from 24 hours a day? There can't be that much water on the mountain when it's only tinkling a little bit. It is amazing.
One aspect I think that I really should mention here on the video is shoes and hands, feet and toes, is because you've got to climb up out of the water, onto the rocks, and a lot of these rocks are really, really sharp. I came in here with sore hands. These rocks are also very, very slippy because they're wet. I bought some shoes from Temu with a really thin grip on, but I really would recommend you get some trainers with a thicker grip, because walking over these rocks, you're going to end up with sore feet. At the start of this, I was actually aiming and trying to grab on to the rocks that didn't have any of the green moss on, but the instructor told me that's completely wrong. That's the area where you get the most grip. And let me tell you, he was right.
Midges, so as we get bitten to death. I will be doing a video review of a gadget because I am very juicy when it comes to mosquitoes. I get bitten to death.
As we get around this last corner, there's one big, larger jump. And then we've got a small waterfall to go over. Now, the first time the current washed me over in the wrong place, and the second time my backside took an absolute battering.
Yeah, it's just so we don't slip down here, really. You go first. Right. Bloody cheap ass shoes. Let me get a grip first. Yeah, okay? Yeah. Eat that hard.
Yes, I went down the wrong part because I was pushed over by the powerful water. You've really got to be careful here and listen to the instructor, because if you don't, you'll end up like this Yorkshire pudding numpty.
Just do it here, just do it in the middle. In the middle! Got my rope stuck in on. Here! Oh.
Well, that was great. I enjoyed that. I'm not going to deny it's cold, and the piece of advice I can give you if you're going to want to come and do this is it's quite rough on the hands as well. Hands and feet need a shows and toes. I would like to go do it at the coast, you know, you get to jump into the sea. I think that would be awesome. If you don't like heights or cold water, probably not going to be something that you're going to want to do. I think I paid, was it £89, and that really did last about 3 hours. As I mentioned before, I think the abseiling bit was a little bit anticlimactic, if I'm being honest. And you really do need some grippy shoes, some thick shoes, because you kind of hurt your feet on them rocks, and that's the worst bit, because it's slippy. But if you're wanting an adventure and you love it, and you love the Yorkshire Dales, you can't get better than canyoning. I think next on the list, well, you'll find out on the next video on the BOTG Adventure channel. And as I always say, remember, life is an adventure, a BOTG adventure. Well, I was going to go well camping up at Malham Cove, right to the top of the mountain, do a little bit of a stop out, cheeky beer, sunset, stargazing. But the weather is absolutely shabba-ranks. So the problem I've got is that I've brought the coffin tent. Super stealthy, super stealthy, but it is literally a coffin. But that means I can't get my backpack for the camera gear, and the huge backpack I've got with all the stuff in it would have to be outside, and it is going to get wet through. And there's nothing worse, I don't know if you've been wild camping, when it's raining and setting up in the rain, it's horrible. So I think eventually I'll end up getting the Hilleberg Sulu, or Sulio, I've forgotten how you pronounce it now. Great tent, a little bit on the expensive side, but chucky. But it all depends on whether I'm knocking YouTube on the head. I hate to pine on all the time, but it's so much effort goes in and you get nowhere. Shabba-ranks. So, I got off on a tangent. Don't know what I'm doing now. I can't decide what the rest of the day is going to bring. But canyoning was great fun. I'm gonna tell your mama. Yeah, I'm gonna blackball your name on your way.